Hi, Saj Hussain here, and I'm in this beautiful, newly refurbished HMO here with Andy Ellard, one of my members of my Inner Circle program. So I just thought it'd be absolutely fantastic to share this amazing house with you to show what's being created here. So, Andy, thank you so much, first of all, for doing the video.
No problem, Saj.
Tell me a little bit about this wonderful house we have.
Yeah, it's great. So we got this property probably about a year ago, and originally it was a 2-bed slash 3-bed semi-detached.
Okay.
They partitioned the room, but originally a 2-bed,
Yeah.
and we've turned it into a 6-bed all-en-suite HMO.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I've had a look around. Looks absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
So tell us, going from 2 to 6, that's quite a big change.
Yes.
Tell us about the amount of work you've had to, what type of works have you had to do to achieve that?
Yeah, it was a large amount of work. We've extended the full length of the property.
Okay.
And all across the back as well, so complete wrap-round extension.
Yeah, so like an L-shaped extension.
L-shaped, yeah. And also we went out at the top as well, so half again at the top, half the size at the top.
Upstairs at the back, a first floor extension at the back as well?
First floor, yeah. So it was quite a big extension to get the property up to the size. And it was tough going at times, but we came through, and I'm pleased with the result.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And as I said, it looks absolutely amazing. And I guess one of the things is right now the HMO market, particularly around Birmingham where we are, is quite a competitive market. So you've got to create something that's kind of special, outstanding, and I think you've certainly created that. Yeah. So who do you think this will be a great home for?
I think it'll be a great home for working professionals.
Yeah.
It's very close to the train station, and that's close then into the city. So it's about less than 10 minutes into the city. There's plenty of parking outside. It's quite a quiet road as well. So working professionals.
Perfect. Okay, so maybe we're going to one of the other rooms and carry on the video there. So let's go across to one of the other rooms.
Okay, great, Saj.
Okay, so we're in the kitchen lounge here. As I said, it's a beautiful property. Done an amazing job here, Andy. Absolutely stunning. It's going to be a great home for 6 people to be living here. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the numbers in terms of how much did you purchase this property for originally?
So we purchased it originally for 150,000.
Okay.
As the 2-bed slash 3-bed. Yeah. Semi-detached.
What kind of condition was it in? Was it kind of nicely done, or was it in a poor state at that time, or?
Very poor.
Okay.
Yeah, there'd been a leak upstairs.
Right.
On one of the bad winters, and also there hadn't been anybody living here for a little while. Okay. So a lot of the walls were mouldy, and all the plaster was gone and everything. So
which is perfect for us as investors, because you're pretty much going to gut it and strip it out anyway and start again.
Exactly. Yeah.
And when you're doing such a big refurb, it's the last thing you want to do is take a nice house and then have to dismantle all of it anyway.
Absolutely.
You paid for that niceness, as it were.
Yeah.
Okay, so 150 is the purchase price. Was that a little bit of a deal? Do you think that's what it was worth, or?
Well, it was originally on for 180.
Oh wow, okay.
And so we knew it wasn't worth that.
Yeah.
Because the houses, when they're nicely done around here, about 180, 190. Right. So we came to
180. It's probably a little bit overpriced anyway.
It was overpriced. Yeah, it was overpriced. I think I originally was thinking about around 160. Okay. But we went in a bit lower. Yeah. And we held out for it.
Yeah,
and,
well done.
And we got it.
And say if you don't ask, you don't get. So you need to try and see where you can. And at the end of the day, it's the seller's choice whether they choose to accept that offer or not. They don't have to if it doesn't work for them. But clearly it was overpriced, 180, and I guess that also creates an opportunity because not many people are looking at it then. So they're looking at it, they think, oh, it's too expensive, so they don't even bother walking through the door.
Yes.
And it means that the vendor will probably start struggling with a lack of interest because it was just too high in the first first place in terms of the price. So and then what did you have to spend on the property? What was your cost, your renovation, holding costs, all your other costs, kind of stamp duty, everything else?
Yeah, so the refurb cost, because it's quite a big extension, was around 120. Okay. And then you've got other costs on top of that, like stamp duty and stuff, which was about 20 grand. Okay. Altogether. And then a couple of other little bits and bobs, but it's around 140.
Okay, so probably what's that, about 290-ish? If my maths is not too bad.
Yes.
So about 290 is your total spend on this. And what would you say it's probably worth, the house now?
It's going to be worth about 300, 320.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got a little bit of equity in it, not a massive amount.
Not a massive amount. Yeah.
So on a project like this, you haven't necessarily built equity. Tell us about the cash flow then. What's it going to bring in terms of gross rent from the 6 rooms?
The gross rent. So the gross rent's going to be about 3,600.
Okay.
For the whole property, and we're going to net. It's going to be around about 1,300.
Okay, so make about £1,300 a month.
Yeah.
For you. So you haven't built a huge amount of equity, a little bit of equity in there, but really nice cash flow each month. So 1,300 is a nice amount to be earning from one house for sure.
Very nice.
Particularly when the value of these properties are what they are.
Yeah.
Okay, and so tell me in terms of financing it. So did you have 300 grand behind the sofa that you found, or? How did you fund it?
So we funded it. There was, because I'm doing it with a JV partner, Graham Durbin. So we both equally put an amount of our own money in, and we got some private investor finance for the refurb and the deposit, and we actually bought the project on a bridge.
Okay.
As well.
So, there's lots of ways to do JVs. We talk about joint ventures.
Yeah.
So essentially, what you've done an equal contribution of kind of time, money, and skills.
Yes. Into
the project.
Yeah.
And there's still a shortfall of funds, which you've then gone out. You've taken some bridging and some private money as well to make the whole thing work.
That's it.
Fantastic. So is that typically how you structure your deals, or?
Not normally. There's a bit of a learning curve. So there's both of us actually getting involved. We're doing everything together. So ideally, I'd like to split the jobs. Split the skills in future, because we tended to some of the decisions took longer.
Yes.
But also it was good working with someone, because property can be lonely. Yeah. It was good working with someone day in, day out. Some of the decisions took a bit longer, like I said. But in future, I would do things a little bit differently on that score. Yeah.
So I guess a key learning is from us having conversations as well before about this is it's great when we're working with other people, because it's very easy for us to attract people that are like ourselves, because we see something in them and we get that instant connection, and that's what kind of creates that, that's amazing. We feel like we've known each other a long time. You kind of experience that sometimes because you see similarities in people. That's what attracts us to somebody, but also that can be the challenge as well, because when we're working together and we're building a business, it's property, whatever we're doing, we're amplifying those strengths that we've got, because we're multiplying more of the same.
Yeah.
But actually what we don't think about is we're also multiplying the weaknesses. So we're kind of doubling up on the things we don't do so well as well. So I think it's either good to have a nice contrast in terms of personalities within a business relationship, or alternatively, if they are similar personalities, you mentioned maybe, then to break up the roles in terms of who's responsible for making what decisions. So they get on with that, they run those departments as it were, somebody else runs these departments, and that's a nice way to do it. Yeah. Cool.
I think we did sort of naturally go towards what we were good at in the end, if I'm honest. Yes. So we naturally went towards what we were good at, but we still made joint decisions on the final design and stuff. So ideally we would split those jobs in the future.
But you've done a great job here. At the end of the day, you've done a fantastic job in terms of what you've created here.
Yeah.
So let's maybe go into one of the other rooms and we'll carry on the conversation there.
Okay, great.
So welcome back. So we're in one of the bedrooms right now. Again, another lovely room, the way it's created. It's going to make a wonderful home for somebody. Andy, I think you've done an absolutely amazing job here, no doubt about that. Sort of hats off to you. And I'm sure financially it's going to do really well for you too.
Great.
So tell me a little bit about how long is it we've been working together on my Inner Circle program now, would you say?
I've been working together since January this year.
So we're about October now, so maybe about 10 months?
Yes, yeah.
And so what was the reason for joining?
The reason for joining was because I feel that I needed sort of a mentor that's doing things in my area, in my field, and they're actively doing it now, which you are. So HMOs in Birmingham, and I felt that a couple of the deals that I was looking at, even though I'd done some other training, I still wasn't quite sure of a few things. and I wanted to surround myself by someone that's an expert in what I'm doing.
Thank you. So it's really about the nitty-gritty detail rather than just kind of overview on stuff.
Yeah.
It's about really getting stuck into the detail and making sure we're looking through stuff and little nuances on how to do things and make it a great project, and where not to go ahead with a deal as well, where the numbers may not actually be as good as maybe they might look initially on paper.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what would you say you've got from the program so far? How's it helped you?
It's helped me a great deal in the fact that, like you say, a lot of the details are missed when you're doing training and stuff. And it's not until you get down to the the nitty gritty, you've got a project, that you start to learn a lot of these things.
Yes.
And so because you've gone through a lot of these things in great detail, and have come across challenges and stuff, and also a little bit of a tweak to the design of the house as well. So making sure that the house is desirable, which I know you gave me advice on as well. So it's really about the details of the daily things that you go through as well.
So it's sometimes easy to look at a deal on paper, whether it's numbers, whether it's layout, and think this is fantastic, we'll do this. But actually when you get into it, you might find, well, the layout from a practicality point of view, from experience, it actually may not work as well. Or the way the numbers may look great on paper, there'd be other factors to take into consideration, which may not make it as viable either.
Absolutely.
So tell me, what would you say to somebody who's maybe watching now and thinking about getting some support and mentoring from me or joining the Inner Circle program?
Yeah, I'd highly recommend working with Saj on the Inner Circle program, because you can go out there and buy properties. There's no doubt about it, but I can assure you there's so many things to think about, and the advice and the experience that you've got, Saj, that you've given me is invaluable, because there's quite a few things that I wouldn't have thought of. And maybe I would have made more mistakes as well, bigger mistakes. You still make little mistakes, but big mistakes. So it's definitely worth investing in your knowledge, and I'd highly recommend joining Saj's Inner Circle program for that.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you for that. It's not something I woke up one day and kind of acquired this knowledge and information. I've spent many years kind of learning the stuff, implementing it, and getting lots of help from various other people as well. And so it's all that collective knowledge over the last nearly 14 years of being in this business that I'm using to kind of help other people with.
Yeah.
So finally, just before we finish, so if people want to contact you, how can you help them and how can they contact you?
You can contact me on Facebook. So I'm on Facebook, and Andy LR, just look me up. Also on LinkedIn as well. So I'm on there as well. Also by phone, email. I'm allowed to give those details out.
Yeah, I mean, maybe social media is probably the easiest way to.
Probably social.
Facebook, LinkedIn, Andy Ellard spelled ELLARD.
That's correct.
Fantastic.
Got it right.
So get in touch with Andy if you want to have a chat with him about what he's doing. And you work with investors as well in terms of funding deals.
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. So thank you so much for watching. Andy, thank you so much for showing us around your wonderful house.
Thanks very much, Saj.
See you again soon.
Right.